I thought I had to prove myself to myself and to others that I could stick with it, that I had consistency, that I had stick with itness. But this one thing changed all of that so that I didn't have to prove myself any longer. And I want to share it with you. It's in my human design. So, everything's live here. Okay, so here we are. We're looking at my human design. And I have, there's open. So like this is open. Wait, there we go. This center, this shape. This is a center. This one is open, sometimes undefined. For the purposes that we're using here, you can use those words interchangeably. They do have something different in them, meaning to them, but not important for this. When something has a color to it, it's what's called defined. So we need to start here before we move into what the real thing happens, because there's a different kind of energy when you have something defined or undefined. And when it's defined, I want you to think about is that you are broadcasting. You are sending out. You have so much within you that your energy that's going out from that overpowers any energy that's coming in. Now, that could be good energy or it could be negative energy. It could be however you want to look at it, but you're broadcasting out. And when it's open and undefined, think about it as you are taking it in, right? Taking in. And, so, you could think of like one as the broadcasting tower and the other, the taking in is the receiver, sort of thing. So, or you could put, broadcasting is Netflix, taking it in is your iPad, watching it, right? That's what's taking it in. Now, that gives us an overview on here, but we're not going to be talking about this head center. We're going to be talking about the will center, the willpower right here. It's this one right here. Only about 30% of the people, it's estimated, to have it actually defined. So most of us don't have it defined. I don't have it defined. This is my human design chart. And this is the thing that I was like, man, I have so many defined centers. Why can't I have this one? Everybody wants willpower. I can feel that not motivated. And I feel like I have to bully myself or discipline myself or really be stringent and rigid on and able to get through any goal. Like if I have tasks that are assigned with the goal, I've really got to do it. I made a goal to drink a certain amount of water. And for 2 years, I tracked that in an app and I, really pressured myself to do it. It wasn't loving in how it came about. I mostly caught and maintained what I was looking to do, but it wasn't fun. And because I bullied myself into it, as soon as I stopped tracking, I stopped drinking all that water. And so it really wasn't effective. I don't want to bully myself like the rest of my life. I want to drink water because I want to drink water. So I really struggled with this. And it's not just for drinking water. It's when I first came to LinkedIn, I was told you need to send X amount of DMs to grow your channel. You got to send so many connections. You got to do so many comments. And yeah, if you're looking to grow your channel, these are things that you do. But I made it so rigid, like I have to do this and I have to do that. And at some point, it's 6 months in, I was not doing any of it because I was so stressed out from forcing myself to do it. And I was like, I have to find a different way of doing it. Well, so when I started studying human design, I first found out like, no wonder right here, this was like, aha, yep, this is it. I totally get it now. Why I can't stick with it, why it's so hard, because I don't have the willpower center defined. Because I'm a receiver and not a broadcaster, meaning I'm not broadcasting out my will. I'm taking in, not only do I have my piddly willpower, I'm taking in everybody else's piddly willpower too. Around, if you're around a bunch of people, I don't know if you've noticed this. This is how you can kind of tell if you have an open one or you have a defined one without even looking at your graph. So if you're around a bunch of people and you find it's really hard to stick with something, but then you're around a different group of people and they're really like gung-ho and they go at it and you find it much easier to stick with that. I mean, that's why people join accountability groups, right? Because you're around people doing the same thing. So you're feeding off of them. You're using their energy. You're taking it in, and it's helping you. So that's a cool thing. That's an option, right? So if I really want to stick with something, that's something I could do. I could be around other people. But I want to share one other thing. This is the one thing that helped me. I mean, because that's like a cool thing to go be around other people. But what if you just can't find that option, for what you're looking for? This is the one thing that helped me. When you have an undefined or an open will center, you get to define your values. And that may seem, what? This is where the values live, right here. Values, right here in the will center. Let me move me over here for a moment. So values are in the will center. And the thing is, people with a defined will center, their values they're more solid. They have more trust in them. They're broadcasting them out. And they probably don't change them very often. I mean, maybe a little bit. We all change a little bit as we grow, right? But a lot of the things probably still holds the same. I have a sister who has the will center defined. And oh my gosh, does she have it defined? It's so obvious. Anybody who would know her would know, yep, not surprised there at all. And her values, the things that she assigns to whatever project, it's the same throughout her whole life. Whether it's with her kids and her family, or her personal workout routine, or her work, or things that she does for my parents, like all of those things, you can see them show up everywhere. She's pretty consistent. But those of us with an open one, we're a little bit inconsistent. Like, well, this thing, I'll put these values, and this thing, I'll put those values. And we don't even know that we're doing this. And that's why, some things we can stick with and some things we can't stick with. Where my sister, she says, I'm doing this. Look out, she's doing it. It just happens for her. It's so easy and effortless. And we talk about it because it's also sometimes hard for her to understand why it's not so easy for everybody else in her life. And so you get to define these. You get to define what these values are. And so I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to move me here. So you get to pick, what are these values when you have an undefined? And you might have for work, you might have certain values. But for family, you might have different values, right? They may not be the same. So let me see if I can give some examples here just for myself. I'm going to just do this off the top of my head. So work, one of the things that I want to have is it's got to be 80% satisfying. That's a must-have rule for me. 80% has to be satisfying. Now, on family, it's really more of like a 50-50 between me and them. It's not exactly the same value. It's still satisfaction, right? Still feels satisfying, but I'm going to give a lot more leeway to them. Where I can say no to a client. I can say no to a job, but I'm not saying no to my family. I mean, yes, sometimes I do say no, but 50% of the time, I'm also like, a huge part of that value for me is for them, The other thing with work is that I value, so this is a value for me, I want quiet time. I need quiet and alone. I need that as part of my work process. That's why I like doing human design reports, because part of it is meeting with the client, but then I get to come back and I get to do all my stuff and really go through and figure out the insights and how I want to present everything. I love that time. That time is satisfying, and it gives me a little bit of that alone time. But for my family, I want engagement, more engagement. You know, I want engagement. I want companionship. It's different. It's still kind of the same value, but it shows up differently. The engagement is a totally different piece in there. And, you know, there could be things like other things that you could think in terms of your values. There's so many ways that you can describe values. But, you know, some people value the ability to have experimentation. And in some areas, they don't want any experimentation on things, you know? And so it depends on what you're doing as to how that value shows up. So like experimenting would be something I would definitely want in work. In family, I'm not so sure I want experimenting. I might want, you know, growth. But, you know, I also want more routine in family. And I kind of want less routine here. I like really mixing up my day in work. But routine here helps because there's more people involved. So it's something that's a value to me to have that routine put in there. So you get to choose when you have this open center. You get to choose what your values are and you can change them. Next week, if I want to change up my business altogether, I can completely pick different values, totally fine. And feel good about them. I feel good about the ones I have, but if I shift them, it's no big deal because that's what happens when you have an open will center. You get to change your values. And when you start thinking about less about how do I complete all those tasks, what are the values that I'm assigning to these tasks? And that would be the other thing to go through and kind of think about. So, you know, for example, if you were going to let's say I'm going to use something I'm doing right now. I'm sending more DMs on LinkedIn. And I used to use other people's values and how they approached it, their strategy and why they did certain things that they did. And it never worked for me. It just wasn't me. And I hated it every single time. Like I said, I bullied myself into doing it and I hated it. So what I started doing this past spring is I started assigning values. What are my values? So yeah, I'm going to, you know, let's say I want to DM 3 people each day on Monday through Friday on LinkedIn. That's kind of my goal. So 15 people a week. That's what my goal is ultimately. So what are my values around it? Not just because someone said I need to do it. Not just because I know that it increases your reach and that it helps to build relationships. And there's all different ways that you can do this. You don't have to sell them anything. You can just congratulate them on something. You could, hey, I was thinking about you. Hi, I just wanted to reach out and, you know, see what you're doing. You know, it can be very casual, but assign what your values are to that. When you have an open will center, the more you put your values connected to whatever task that you're looking to do on repeat, the more successful you'll be at them. So things for me were appreciation first, always appreciation first. And the other thing was, you know, is that only pick who you really feel like you have something to share with, not just putting somebody on there just to copy and paste and put something on there. It's, I tune into my body and is this somebody that I'm feeling something, that I can share something. And then I sit and think, are the words coming easily to me? Because if they're not coming easily to me, it's let's move on to the next, or maybe I don't even do it that day. And so those are my values. So my values are about, I have to feel the connection with it. Appreciation first. And my last one is do it most days. You don't have to do it every single day. So, because I'm thinking in terms of a practice, not as a bunch of check boxes. And those are my values around that. And I got to say, since that, I've been doing them. They're easy breezy, and I actually start looking forward to doing them. So start assigning values to those things, and more likely that willpower is going to show up.